Welcome to episode 14. So we got a lot to do today. We started this building on episode 8. It's 14 now, and all I've managed to do is get the first production floor done. We're going to go much faster on this episode because it's kind of redoing what I've already done. And we're going to try to get the whole second production floor done in one episode. I've got to go through a few things real quick. In between episodes, I put the elevator and the second stairwell on this corner of the building, right? Because originally we had that one down there. So now it's on this corner. I also moved the stairs in. So the elevator is 1 foundation by 1 foundation. The stairs are 1.5 by 1.5. And that's just, you can't make them smaller. You can't put it in 1 foundation. You would be able to go up with the pieces we have. So it was sticking out half a foundation past the elevator. And I'd always envisioned a wall with, a lot of windows on basically 3 sides. And so I've pushed the whole thing in half a foundation and it works out. So you end up just using, instead of having the catwalks here, you use the concrete floor, but then the catwalks are still up there. It stays far enough from the ceiling and then you pop up and then I've got the high catwalk there. So we've got new signs. I didn't like how the old signs were looking. Number 1, I didn't like the information that was on them. But 2, where they were, I can't see them from up here. And then down there, I can't see them unless I'm right in front of them. You can't really look down and see them. So I've got them up high. I've got them supported from the ceiling. The big billboard tells me what it is and how many I'm making. I've got other information down there. And then the number is the production line, right? Because each floor has got 12. So 1 through 12. The other thing the sign let me do is I ran power down it and then to the machine. So I got rid of, and we only had 1 power cable coming down on each production line, but I got rid of that. So there's no power cables. So got the new signs, 45 steel beams there, 60 reanimated SAM. I've got the 60 black powder and the 90 compacted coal. I don't have any information for the compacted coal. It's just for the truck station. I don't intend to really do anything else. We've got our concrete, got silica, and then we've got quartz. So the truck station that's over by the crystal, I have 2 miners over there. Each one was doing 120. I was feeding it in, so 240. So I had a 240 belt coming from downstairs, and I was splitting it, and I was doing 120 and 120. And I'm like, 200 silica seems good, but however much crystal I was making was not much. And I'm like, I don't think that's going to be enough. So I went over there. I upped both of the miners. So each one's doing 240 into the truck station, right? Because it's got 2 inputs and the one downstairs got 2 outputs. And I have 240 times 2 coming up. The 240 still splits 120 and 120. So 120 goes there, 120 goes here. The other 240 goes 100% down this side. So ended up the 480 that's coming up, 120 is doing silica and 360 is doing that. So we basically tripled our crystal quartz. Okay, we got copper, we've got caterium. Yeah, we're not making much caterium, but we're going to double that when we get a 480 belt, right? We got lots of iron, and then we've got our steel. The other thing I did between episodes was I sent all the outputs upstairs, and some of them aren't too bad, but the iron ones, oof. Keep in mind though, we only have Mark III belts. That's why there's so many belts. As we get faster belts, I'll be able to upgrade these and we'll have way less belts. We still need to put walls in. I did go ahead just on these 2 columns because this is what I was thinking of doing, was running these all the way up and down. I needed something to kind of carry the end of the steel beam there. So I've only done it on these 2 columns. And then there's going to be walls in here and there's going to be windows. And I haven't designed it yet, but I've said it a few times. So I just want to make sure everybody knows, like, there will be walls. I just don't know what we're doing. I changed how the power is coming into the building. We will eventually have a power room with switches and labels, and I'll be able to shut off floors or whatever. But for now, the power comes in here, and then it's just feeding all the way up, and each one of these feeds a floor. So that one's feeding the floor below, and yeah, so on and so forth. So that's the new power setup. Here on the logistics floor, I didn't do too much. So the steel, which is that one. So the steel goes up, comes over, goes down, comes in, and then it runs all the way down, and then we go up, over, and then down to make steel beams. I'm going to make pipes in this first bay. So we're also taking the steel beams off and then sending them back over and then up to the floor above, right? The iron all comes in. I'm not going to even make you try to look at that. The point is we have 9 belts of iron, and by the time you get down here, there's 9 belts of iron. So the steel goes all the way down because we're actually using it. I didn't do everything else all the way down. So here we've got the Caterium. It's coming down and it's going to go that way. And it has a merger because eventually that's supposed to go all the way down. It's going to go up to the other logistics floor. It's going to come all the way back down and it's going to come down and then re-enter the line, right? So that's the main bus and it goes in a circle. So the Caterium goes down here and then it just stops. Okay, here we've got our copper and we've got 3 copper belts of 240 coming out. So the copper comes down and stops. Here's the quartz crystal coming down and stopping. Here's the silica. We've got 2 belts of concrete. So there's the 2 belts of concrete. There's the black powder. Here's the reanimated SAM. And then here's our steel beams, the first thing we were making downstairs. So I didn't put anything else in because I just kind of wanted to show, I don't know, it's just simpler to look at this way, right? So all of these belts need to go all the way down. And then wherever we decide to build something, that's where we'll send it up. And it is going to be, again, my whole design was there's a logistics floor and it feeds the production floor above. And then I changed it and now we're trying to do a production floor above and below. And there's going to be some compromises with the design. I've got another high catwalk. I want to call this conveyor. And another high catwalk there. So we got up to this production floor. So I've got my signs up and this is what I intend to make up here. So 60 reinforced iron plates, 120 copper sheets, 240 cable, 480 wire, 480 wire. And some of these numbers might seem weird. I'm basically taking half the wire and turn it into cable. I've got 3 belts of copper. So 2 belts of copper is going to make wire and then 1 belt's going to make sheets. I have no idea if that's right. We're going to make 1,400 screws, which is going to be only 360 rods a minute. 360 plates, 540 rods, and only 40 steel pipes. So our 9 belts of iron, if I send 4.5 of them here to make rods, we make 1080 rods. The other 4.5 belts would make 720 plates. So 720 and then 1080. So if I drop the rods down to 720, that was how we were going to make screws, right? So we were going to end up having 720 rods, 720 plates, and then 1,400 screws. So that's how I kind of got that planned out. I also know we completely tripped the breaker when we started hooking this stuff up. And obviously most stuff isn't running right now, but power is going to be a problem. I went over in between episodes and I took the coal thing, our coal power plant area, and I doubled it. So I've got a little quick time lapse. I'm just going to throw that in here now. And what you're going to see is it's the same thing. It's the same blueprints I did before. So I've got to put the blueprints down. The way the blueprints are designed, the water extractor has to go in first because it has a big hitbox. And then the blueprint goes around it. And it does not clip. It gives you the clipping warning, but nothing touches the water extractor. So I'm totally fine with it thinking it clips because nothing's clipping. But in order to know where the water extractors need to go, I have to basically put the blueprints down, then put the, measure out where the water extractors are going to go, tear all the blueprints down, put all the water extractors in, and then put all the blueprints back, which isn't really that big of a deal because they're blueprints. You can tear them down and rebuild them pretty simple. And the other thing is then putting all the coal power plants on top. I start to hook up the coal power plants and get them almost all hooked up, and then the game crashed. And so I didn't continue the time lapse, but it's just me literally just hooking the rest of it up, which you can't really tell. And then me going over to the 2 coal nodes, putting the miners in, and then trying to build a bridge to run the 2 conveyors over. I need infinite nudge though back in order to do that again to make it match the other bridge. So for now, there's not much there. So we went from 2,400 megawatts to 4,800. That is still not going to be enough to run this factory at full tilt. So we're going to have to be kind of selective on what we're doing and what we turn on. But it's not going to matter because we're going to be in oil soon. And once we get into oil, we're going to have tons more power. So that's the coal power plant situation. The other thing I need to do, we don't have any storage built into this setup. And In the old days, you wanted like a room with all your storage containers and everything came to you so you could go and quickly grab stuff. Well, now with the inventory and the dimensional depots the way it is, I don't need that. So I don't care where my storage containers are. So we're going to build them in just wherever it makes sense on the logistics floor. But I need to do a research first because I need to do, what's it under? Is it under Caterium? No, it's under Quartz. I need the programmable splitter, or I'm sorry. I need the priority merger. I read what I was just looking at. So we're going to do this research.
Priority merger unlocked. Useful for prioritizing between inputs to avoid eventual stoppage. If you have an issue with stoppage somewhere else, consult a physician instead.
So the reason that's useful, I was really excited when they added when they said they were adding priority mergers, and there were quite a few people who were like, what's your use case for that, right? And I already had a specific use case. So I want dimensional depots, and of course, one of the things I really want is on concrete. I'm going to have to tear this down in order to do it. So I'm going to show you the blueprint real quick. So we don't know, I need a dimensional depot, let's say on this conveyor. So the way it works is I've got the blueprint for the dimensional depot. I lock it, I drop it, I put some foundations here so I can line it up like that. And then I know I've got it lined up. And then it's a matter of which one are we going to? Okay, so we're going to go to this one. A storage container cannot fit here. And I don't want it to fit here because I don't want to go through the storage container. So the storage container needs to fit here, but it doesn't quite fit. So there's a tiny bit of space here. So what the blueprint does is basically we're going to move this up against that one and move this up against that one. And that creates enough space here. So let's say I want to do this conveyor, which means I want the storage container here. So I bring this over and the storage container is in there, right? And that's not, it's that one right there. So you can see here's our other one. And I just said we got to move this over, right? So we're going to move that over. Oh, and this is the middle one. This is a bad example. There's a wider space between these two than there is anywhere else. So let me actually use this one. Right there. So you can see those two are almost touching. And so the conveyor, whatever this item is, would come down here and it's going to continue to come down and go through and keep going. The reason there's two sides is I'm using the blueprint here for this conveyor. If I needed to use the blueprint here, the storage container would need to go there, and then I would move this over to there. And now I'm using this side. So when you build this blueprint, you have to position it for what belt you're doing it on, right? And then you end up tearing half of it down. So we'll go back. So if I was doing this belt, I would keep this and I would tear that down. But we're going to do this belt. So I would keep this and then I would tear this side down, right? But the blueprint, what it's got, and again, there's two conveyors there. You would only use one of those. You would tear one of them down. So this is the input and it lines up. It lines up with the things on the roof. It doesn't line up with the thing on the roof. That one does. Okay, I don't know what happened there. I'll have to look at that off camera. It's supposed to line up with the thing on the roof. So you bring your input down and your input comes in. So whatever we're making concrete. So the concrete would come across the ceiling. It would come down. This is a priority splitter. And then it feeds into the storage container. So this is your new concrete coming in. The thing is set for overflow. So again, if we're doing it on this belt, you would tear this one off. So then when the concrete gets full, it would overflow and then go back and it would go to a sink. We're not hooking the sink up right now. It comes into a big container. It comes out of the big container. It goes into this lift. And again, the lift is set up. It's connected this way, but you would tear the lift down and connect this way. And this is a priority merger so that you want the items coming down the bus to take priority and go through. And then you want the new items to only come in if there's room. So then this would back up, it would fill up, and then it would start sending the stuff to the sink. It also goes up to a small storage container, and then the dimensional depot's on top, which goes up there. That way you end up with a supply of stuff. So even if you run this empty, you've got a supply of stuff to keep going in the dimensional depot. Does that make sense? I'm going to go ahead and build one for the concrete. And the concrete's a little more complicated because there's 2 conveyors. And we're just going to hook one up, and the other one's not going to get hooked up. And when we get faster belts and I can combine those 2 into one, then they'll get combined into one. So let me do that real quick. All right, I just hooked it up. So the concrete's flowing in. The splitter is not going to let anything overflow until this is full. It's going to flow into this container. Stuck. It's going up to that container. And then it's going to go up to the dimensional depot. So we should have somewhere here concrete. And it's already full of concrete, so not going to do anything. But yeah, you can see it's filling up there. This is going to fill up, and then once that one fills up, this one will start filling up. I am getting this bug, and I've had it before when I place down other blueprints with machines where the game tries to draw the leg. I don't know why it does that sometimes. I've had it a bunch of times, and I don't know why. So we now have, and so I know it's confusing. See how the belt's curved there? So basically, coming back here, we took the conveyor pole, moved it over, and moved it over. So the belt curves over, goes down, and then it'll curve back over. And then this belt over here that's unrelated also does the same thing, where it curves over and then curves back over, just to make room for all this. Now, my intention was the overflow conveyor, that one, was going to be on this side so that it's over the belt. But because this is 2 right now, I'm putting it on this side. Oh, and I need to get rid of that one too. I've got those up there just in case I need to re-snap some stuff because it snaps at the right level. And I don't know why I had to curve that. I thought I had this lined up. So I'll probably need to go back to the drawing board on the blueprint and figure out why that's off slightly, because it should have lined up with that. Long story short, the whole point of this, I want storage, right? I want storage because we're making 500 concrete a minute. Well, what happens if we need more than that, right? Like, well, you're not going to be able to do that for very long. Well, but what if I need to do it for a little bit and overclock some stuff or whatever? I've got storage so we can pump out more than we're making for a short while. I've also got storage where I can come and take stuff out if I need a whole bunch of it. And we're getting it in our inventory with the dimensional depot. And we're using the priority merger so that it's always going to prefer the stuff that's on the belt. Well, that belt. And then only then, if it's full on the belt, then the storage will start filling up, right? So I don't want it to start sending stuff out and then the belt stops. So that's why the priority merger's there. The splitter's back here for when we get too much, we could sync it. We can't do that right now anyway because we don't have the power to sync it. So there you go. That's that setup. And I don't have enough stuff to do it a whole bunch of times, but we're going to do it to several things like the concrete, the steel beams, probably a few other things. So let me, I think definitely the steel beams. I think that's the only other thing on this floor. Let me do that real quick. All right, we got, that's a weird visual bug. What's going on there? Okay, haven't seen that one before. All right, so we got the steel beams hooked up. Yeah, there's room for me to not do that. I'm just, when I put the blueprint in, so I just need to go back and change the blueprint. When I put the blueprint in, instead of having my snap point there, it was off by 1. So, and there's room for this to move over and get smaller. So I just need to change the blueprint. I manually fixed this one. So we got our concrete and our steel beams going in. I don't know if I've got steel. Ah, that's full too. Everything I'm hooking up, I've already got full. But the nice thing is we don't have to worry about that again. Okay, I've got the steel pipe thing here done. They did fix this, so I'm so happy to see this, that you can, so before I couldn't snap off of that. Like if I snapped off of that, I couldn't nudge it. And now I can do that. And I still get the Z fighting, but everything looks right other than the Z fighting. So I still need my infinite nudge because then I would have taken this bottom stair and I would have gone 1 centimeter down, 1 centimeter back, and then 1 centimeter over. So basically X, Y, and Z move at 1 centimeter, and then there'd be no Z fighting, and it wouldn't be far enough off for anybody to notice. But yeah, I just took my normal constructor blueprint and then hung it way out and then deleted everything else. And we got our sign set up. So we've got 60 steel ingots a minute coming in, 1 belt times 60, 40 steel pipes going out, 1 belt times 40, 2 constructors at 100, 8 megawatts used. That's what we're doing. It's, you know, production line 13. So I only needed 2. I went ahead and used the whole blueprint with 5 and cut it off there. So just at some point we're going to need more, right? So I might as well. And then here, and that should get these guys going. Yep. And before I cut that off, those filled up. So those will run and output, but then it'll stop. So that's going to get us some steel pipes. So I need to go hook that up real quick on the production floor. I'm not going to do a dimensional depot for that yet. So that's coming down. Where? That's coming down there. Yeah, I had that backwards. I had it going up there and it needs to come down there. Turn the light on, not press N. So we need to get that to the main bus. So let me do that. Okay, steel pipes are hooked up. Got them running over, down. I just put a merger here and then did this. So eventually this will be a dimensional depot. I can't afford to put a dimensional depot on everything. So I'm going to prioritize the things I really need right now. So steel pipes, I'm not using a lot of. We'll just do it like this. And then eventually we'll come back and then this will be a storage container and dimensional depot here. I'm having this weird visual bug again where after something comes out of a lift, it doesn't show it for a short distance. And so you can't see anything, but obviously they're going through because they're feeding onto these 2 belts. So it's a little interesting. All right. So that's the 40 steel pipes. So we're going to come over here next. And this is going to be the big one. So for the plates, I only need 36 constructors, which will fit all on one floor here. For this one, the rods, I need 72 constructors to make the 1,000 rods. So we're going to do the constructor blueprint all the way down and then put the second floor in and then do another set of constructors. And I haven't done this yet, and I'm not entirely certain how I'm going to get the conveyors up to the second floor. This will be interesting. All right, that's what 72 constructors looks like. I had never put the second floor in. I had the blueprint, and it's the second floor blueprint, and then it's the same constructor blueprint all the way down. I don't know how to get to that catwalk without doing that. It's at a slightly different height, so it looks fine from up here. It is what it is. Yeah. So I've still got to go in and not just bring the 4.5 belts of iron up and try to figure out how to split 4.5 belts of iron across 4. Oh, it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4 across 4 inputs. But yeah, I need to connect stuff. Yeah, this is going to take a little bit to get this set up. And then the power. Yeah, I'm not sure. This is going to take a little bit. So if you remember the iron production, there are 4 sets of smelters down each side. And then at the very end, there's a half and a half. So there's 9 belts going down. 4 go down one side, 4 go down the other. The 9th one goes down the middle and splits. So when it comes back, there's 5 and 5, but it's 4 full belts and half and 4 full belts and half. So I was sending all 10 upstairs. I was taking the 2 halves and combining them. And if you remember, I need 4.5 to make rods. Yeah, this got a little out of control here. So I need 4.5 to make rods. Well, it ends up I need 4 belts of 270. The math works perfectly. We have 270 belts. The thing is, the 4 belts coming up only have 240 on them, not 270. So I need to take that half belt of 120. I need to divide it into 4, 30, 30, 30, 30. I need to add that to the 4 belts, and now I have 4 belts of 270. And the 4 belts of 270 worked out really good because I need 2 right here to feed these 36, and I need 2 there to feed that 36. And then it's going to be 2 coming back and 2 coming back. So I've got them all set up, all hooked up, everything. The only thing we haven't done is connected power to there. To there. This is going to draw a lot of power. A lot of power. Come on, get up there. I know you can get up there. I've done it. I don't want to go all the way around. go. And then up here, we need to power that. And that. That should be 72, 72 constructors that just turned on making rods. And it's going to turn on all the smelters, well, half the smelters downstairs. So we should be drawing a fair amount of power. Let me find. So yeah, we're only at 1600 megawatts. So we wouldn't have actually tripped the breaker, even with the old system. If everything was on, we're only at 3000. So there you go. Now I haven't run it anywhere. I need to run those rods downstairs, all 4 belts. And then one of them, I'm going to put my little blueprint down with the, I can never remember the thing, the dimensional depot. So I'll go ahead and just run those down onto the bus with 4 belts, and one of them will get a depot. If I've done this correctly, which who knows. That should, yep, that's bringing that down. So that should be going into my depot. And it is. Good. So there's 2 here, right? This one feeds into the depot, does the same thing. Eventually, oh, I can't get through. Eventually comes out to the priority merger here and then goes on that belt. The other one just goes through, comes down and goes onto this belt. And then right here is 2 more. So that'll be 3 and 4 stacked on top, right? And then, yeah, just like the other one, this kind of shifts over and then it comes back. And then this one kind of has to shift over and then come back just to make a little more room. So that is 1,000 rods. I mean, it's 1,000 rods if I, where am I? I've lost myself. If I bring those 2 down and then put 4 of those on, then that's 1,000 rods. But close enough. We got rods and they're going into the depot, and I've got a storage container I can come get a bunch of rods out of. So now we need to do plates. And I'm actually, the old base, I keep going over there to get resources. I don't know why I keep opening that. I'm almost out of plates, so it's definitely time to get some plates going in this building. So I just spent like half an hour changing this. So 4.5 belts and 4.5 belts of iron going upstairs. That's what we need for the rods, and that's what we need for the plates. 270 times 4 is the same thing, right? 270 times 4, 1080. That's what we're making. So instead of 4.5 belts, I could just have 4 belts of 270. So what I did, and we'll go up and I'll delete all the messiness I made because I didn't want to have to make the messiness again. So this was 8 smelters, right? And where's the end of the blueprint? Right there. So that smelter was the last smelter in the 8. And then this smelter was on the next blueprint. And you can see it's still like that on the input side. Right? That belt comes down and feeds this, and that's the last belt. But over here, I added this smelter to that line. So instead of it being 8, it's 9. And then I came down to the next section. And then now because that was 8, now it's 7, I had to add 2. Right? So these 2 are now with that, which makes 9. And then I come down here, and then I added 1, 2, 3. Which left 9, right? Because before we had 8, 8, 8, 8, and then it was 4 and 4. So now it's just 9, 9, 9, 9, right? So 4 9s. So let me run back upstairs. And I guess a better way to explain it would be instead of 9 belts of 240, I have 8 belts of 270, which is the same number. But now I don't need this. There's nothing coming up on that half belt. And the same over here, whichever one's the half belt. Oops. That's the half belt. There's nothing coming up there. So I don't need any of this silliness out here because now we need 270 and we're going to have 270. Get rid of that and this, and I don't need these. Don't need that. Don't need that. Or that, or that. Yeah, now I've just got to reconnect that. So yeah, 8 belts of, or I'm sorry, well, yeah, 8 belts at 270, but 4 here, and it goes upstairs, because I was getting ready to have to do the same thing. I was going to have to take that 1 belt and then try to divide it up and make 4 belts at 270. I'm like, that's simpler just to do it downstairs. So there you go. We eliminated that. Just simple 4 belts coming up and 4 belts going up to make rods, and in a second it'll be 4 belts going up to make plates. All right, that came out much cleaner, and it'll get even better when I get faster belts and I can reduce belts. But got 4 belts of iron coming up, 4 belts of iron going up there, and then the same thing here, 4 and 4. Well, what about putting iron ingots on the main bus? Well, I don't really care. Like other stuff, plates or rods, there's multiple recipes where we might need plates or rods. Ingots, we're just making plates and rods. I don't have anything, you know, I'm not doing alternate recipes, right? This playthrough is no alternate recipes other than what's in the MAM. So I don't think I'm going to need ingots. If I do, you know, we can revisit that. But if we come up here, and I did, oh, it's hard to tell because I can't get far enough away. So here's the new thing I just made, right? I did put a couple stairs up so I can get up to the rods. So the plates now, we've got 2 going down. That doesn't go anywhere, right? And then 2 going down over here. And then we've got our 4 270s here. And it's basically the same thing as next door. Just that we only need 36 instead of 72. So I should be ready to power this up. Turn that on. Turn that on. Oh, I put railings down that too. Could actually get a really good view up here. And none of the machines, because the power was off, none of the machines like pre-filled. They're all completely empty. So if they're going to take a while, especially these first ones, they're going to take a while to fill up. So there are, whatever, I already forgot. How many, what are we making? 720 plates a minute. So now we got plates coming in, which is good because I was almost out. So I'll let this run for a little bit. So the next thing to do, so we're making 720 plates. We're making 1,080 rods. I'm going to keep, in order to match the 720 plates, we're going to keep 720 rods. So we're going to put 720 plates onto the main bus, 720 rods on the main bus, which leaves 360. We're going to bring 360 up here and make 1,400 screws, which is another 36 constructors. So basically the same thing as that. And I'm kind of getting to the point where I feel like I need to modify my blueprint here. Because I don't need all these belts for this, and I need to connect them together differently. And yeah, maybe I should modify this blueprint because it takes a long time to modify this. So it seems like we keep doing the same thing because these two are almost identical setup. So maybe I'll go modify the blueprint real quick. In the patch notes, they changed the auto connect thing, and they actually made it worse. Before, I wouldn't get that one to connect, but this one would connect. And you might say, well, there's a belt and there's not a belt. Yeah, there actually is a belt in the blueprint. So over here, and they said they made it prefer a belt on the same level. So it sees like, should I go to that belt? Nope. Nope. Okay, should I go to that belt? Nope. Oh, I'll go to this belt. Like, no, that's like the third one you should go to. You should connect to this. So belt to belt doesn't work. And I thought, okay, they're too close. So then I came over here and I deleted the bottom belt there. And yeah, it just was like, no, I'm going here. Like, oh, and the max distance, you know, I tried to go way out. Oh, look, there it is. Okay. These are wrong. And then that one's still, what? So, yeah, let me get rid of that. Okay, so that one connects. That one connects. These two don't. Of course, it is just, I mean, there's no belt there. There's no belt there, so I guess I can't fault it. Yeah, so if I click that, now where's my blueprint at? It's like through the floor and oh, it spun it sideways. Yeah, anyways, the auto connect is way worse now. And yet again, I think we're ready to go. So basically the exact same thing as there and as there and as there. 36 constructors, 18 on each side. The only difference is the recipe. Yeah, I set the recipes. And how many belts. So we only need 2 belts in, but then we need 6 belts out because we're making screws. So I think this up and we'll be making 1,400 screws a minute. How much of the? Yeah, 40. Okay. So I am not going to do a storage container or do anything like that with these. So they're just going to go downstairs and kind of stop for the moment. Man, we're going to have to do how many? 32 constructors. So I got to do basically what I've done 3 times. I got to do it again here for wire. And then I got to come over here. Now I only need 8 for cable and then 12 for this. So this one isn't as bad. And then down here, the reinforced iron plates. I don't know that I should even be making 60 a minute. Maybe that's too many. So I was hoping to get all the way down to the end on this episode. We're pretty close, but I'm going to be honest. I've been playing for like 8 hours. I'm hungry. I want to eat dinner. I want to stop playing. So I think we're going to cut the episode here. I'm going to go ahead and hook this up. I think I've got everything. I can't tell what I'm doing because I'm not used to being down there. Oh. Yes. So these, I've got the blueprint has got the new, oh yeah, I can't even talk. I'm so tired. The blueprint for these signs has got the power pole, power wall outlets. Words are hard. The blueprint for these signs has this wall outlet on it, but this is an older copy of the blueprint, so it's before. I probably just put a power pole upstairs. Nope, I put an outlet. Like I said, I'm tired. There. Ah. Okay, that should get us all of our wire. So, yeah, you know, between episodes, I'll go ahead and set the rest of these up and maybe do a little bit upstairs. And I've still got to do some stuff on the logistics floor to bring the wire down. But wow. How did that fill up so fast? I don't know how that filled up so fast. It was like 60 seconds or something. It just boom. I mean, I guess they all kind of kicked off. But anyways, so that's that. And I've said a bunch of times, like, okay, we're making whatever. 960 wire. Is that enough? I have no idea. We're making 1,400 screws. Is that enough? Is it too much? I don't know. There are people that are min-maxers and they want to plan it all the way out to the last item and then work all the way back and be like, okay, I need 1,712 iron plates. I don't want to do that. Like, video games are something I do to get away from real life, and trying to figure things out like that, that's too much like real life. So I don't want to put that much thought into it. So what I like about this modular design is that you could just kind of do whatever and then change it. We're doing 1,400 screws. I decide, you know what? I don't need that many. Okay, we'll just shut some of them off and make less. Or we need more. Okay, I'll just take the second floor blueprint, throw it down, and then we'll make some more, right? We'll redirect some more rods here, or some less, or maybe I need more plates, so we need to send less iron ingots to the rods and send more to the plates and put more plates in, or, you know, we can just kind of change it. And the logistics floor, it gets It's so much simpler when we have fast belts and there's just like one belt going everywhere. But yeah, when you get down and you got like a whole bunch of belts and stuff, it gets confusing. Like, oh, what's all this stuff doing here? I didn't even show, where is the crazy one? Oh, here's the crazy one. I needed 180 on both belts. So I took a 240. No, I took a 270 and split it, which is 135 and 135. And then I pulled that off and then split it. And then I used the priority mergers. I'm not even going to explain it because it probably won't make sense. But anyways, the logistics floor allows us to do whatever we need to do. I can move things. I can send them here, send them there. We can change stuff later. So that's why I like this type of base layout. I don't have to pre-plan or figure things out. I can just do whatever I want. And if later I figure out, oh, I need more or less or whatever, we just go ahead and do that. So between episodes, I'll go ahead and what do I need here? I need 8 constructors to make cable, which uses like half of that wire. One more line. So there's 3 copper ingot conveyors. I cannot talk. So 2 of them are there. One of them's here, 120 copper sheets. Is that enough? Too much? I have no idea. And then down here, 60 reinforced plate. I'll get those set up between episodes, and then I just won't hook the power up. So when we come back for episode 15, we'll turn the power onto those. And then up here, I thought that was the floor, but it's up here. So this one, I'm going to do Nobelisk and later rifle ammo. So I could go ahead and set that up maybe. And then here, quick wire. I'm going to do, yeah, because I only need 13. Yeah, 13.25 constructors. So that'll be quick wire. And then I didn't even plan it out past that. But what do we have left? Modular frames, encased beams, AI limiters, stators, rotors, motors, and then the 3 things in the top right corner for phase 2 to unlock the giant thing there. What's it called? Space elevator. I've lost all my words. I've been playing this too long. So we'll be able to do all that. Will we get that done next episode? I don't know. I'm not even going to make any promises. We're going to get more done next episode. Yeah. See you guys next time. Okay. One more. I ate and then I'm like, okay, let me do this. Confused by what I'm looking at. That one and that one. That should get us our cable and our copper sheets. Yep, there's copper sheets. There's cable. Little bonus to the episode. All right, so we got everything. I am not doing the reinforced plates. It's like 9 p.m. and I've got to go to work tomorrow, so we are not doing the reinforced plates. Plus, that's assemblers. Yeah, okay. There's your wire, or there's your cable. The previous one, what did we do? The wire? Yeah, so then here's the... Is this the wire? Nope, that's concrete. Wow. Here's the wire. So that one's still filling up. Yeah, because there's the wire. So that one's done. So I would still need to do the storage setup for the cable and the copper sheet. I probably won't do it for copper sheet yet because I can only make so many of these, but I'll definitely do one for cable. But that's definitely going to be between episodes. I'm done now. I'm going to bed. Good night.